ever since I made fun of the movie The Iron Claw, I can't get away from Jeremy Allen White because he has like an underwear ad with Calvin Klein and they are sexually harassing me with these photos. They're on my New York Times app.
Hilarious.
Like I'm reading an article about the Houthis in Yemen and then he's over there just butt naked eating an apple with his schnutz in my face. And I'm like, will you stop sending me these pics, Jeremy Allen White?
Trekking heavier, traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
All right, that's how we're starting the episode. I've been burping a lot more. Hey, everybody, welcome to This Week in Zoltan. This is episode 360. I should have looked it up. It's all right. We're here. We're here, and it's a beautiful day. It's any day because we record these early. So it's an evergreen episode. You could play these 100 years from now, and they'd be totally relevant, except we're not wearing our oxygen deprivation space helmets that we need to survive in the atmosphere. Before we get started, I want to say a big thank you to our one and only sponsor, the Safe Journal, safejournal.co. 25% off if you use the code Zoltan at checkout, and you get a handwritten note by me, and it's really been helping with my handwriting. I've been killing it. In fact, I was on the road last week, and someone ordered a Safe Journal, but I wasn't at home for an entire week to write the personalized notes. So you know what I did? I grabbed a postcard in Sacramento, and it was a Sacramento postcard with the capital of California on it, and I sent that guy a creepy postcard from a man he didn't know.
That's dedication right there.
That is dedication. So even if I'm on the road, I'll just send you a postcard from whatever town I'm in, and everyone will know what I wrote to you. I didn't realize how uncomfortable sending a postcard. Everyone can read your message. You can't say anything that personal, you know? So, but yeah, the Safe Journal is a wonderful tool. If you're brand new to journaling or if you're a seasoned journaler, what it is, the person that created this may or may not be here, may or may not be me. The person that created this wanted a journal that they've always wanted their entire lives. So they were a seasoned journaler, and they're like, I've wanted to create something that had everything I've always wanted. And they put that into this. And I think that's what really sets this apart from just a blank-ass journal of nothing. Is that a good description?
I think so.
Yeah. And so if you're brand new or seasoned, get into Safe Journal, safejournal.co, 25% off at checkout with
We
Zoltan.
just got an order in too.
We just got an order? Is it a podcast order?
It is.
Hey, read their name. Let's embarrass them.
John Patton.
John Patton.
First and last. Okay.
Give out his address. Where are we sending this to?
Last four of your social, John.
Listen, we have your credit card information.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, John, thank you so much for ordering a Safe Journal. I will be handwriting you a note as soon as we get home. And yeah, Safe Journal, safejournal.co. That was a good read. I think that was good. We mixed in some personal. We got in some other. I had fun writing that guy a postcard. I didn't even know. I went to a CVS and I got a postcard, and then I went to go buy a stamp, and you can't buy one stamp. She's like, I got a booklet. So I had to get a whole booklet, a stamp. So now I got a bunch of stamps I'll never use. But they're forever stamps, so I'll be good forever.
Just like this podcast.
Just like this podcast. Oh, yeah.
Forever in Zoltan?
Forever in Zoltan. I didn't even... we got Emma off to the side. Say hello, Emma.
Hello.
Yeah, and we got Mike on the ones and twos. There's his face. I read a comment this morning from the last episode we posted, which went up today, that complimented your deep, burly voice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I can't extra deep unless it goes southern. I have to go gritty and I have to go, hey, everyone doing today? We having a good time? It's like a grizzled retired auctioneer.
Yeah, like a Wilford Brimley. The diabetes.
Hey, everyone doing? All right. Fair enough.
That's a good voice, man. I'm always happy right after I get sick and you start getting out of your sickness and you get that extra deepness. And then I feel it, I hear it, and then I try to do it to you. But you never notice. You're always like, get away from me. You're still not better. I'm like, no, don't I sound sexy? And you're
chewing straw. What the hell's his problem?
Chewing straw.
You stole my voice. You just start doing the entirety of A Star Is Born.
I just want, because there's always the voice you think you have, and then there's the voice, because we get to hear ourselves, not just from the podcast, but because we do stand up. Everyone, you've done voiceover stuff, and then you second guess your voice. You have a lovely speaking voice. Everyone second guesses their voice, and I always think I sound one way, then I hear it, and I'm like, who is this nasally bastard?
Yeah, isn't that tough?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. Because I think I sound like an idiot. When I hear myself back, I'm like, who's listening to that guy? Because inside my head, I'm probably the dopest voice on earth.
Dude.
But out here, no.
I always think I make not just how I sound, but what I say. I'm like, that's a great point. And then I'll watch it back on video, and I'm like, you sound like a bumbling. You sound like a. Half the time, I sound like I'm doing a book report on a book I didn't read, and then, but I feel like I'm making sense. And then I hear it, I'm like, man, you're jumping all over the place. You're not
You
even.
think it's a great point, then you're like, man, they're not all like that. I don't think that whole country is criminals. Germany. I'm talking about Germany, obviously.
I also notice that like sometimes when I talk on not just on the podcast, but in person, my opinion, you know how some people are steadfast in their opinion and they're bold by it? My opinion is so easily swayed. Because on one of the episodes, we were talking about Chappelle's last special, which I enjoyed, but you started bashing him, and then I just jumped in with you. And then someone left a comment, and I was like, yeah, I didn't care for the Chappelle bashing. And I was like, wait, I actually like that special. And then I rewatched the thing, and I was like, oh, yeah, I never said that I liked that special. I was coming in to go, yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, Mike is right. What? Like, dude. If you want me to vote for your guy in the upcoming election, just make sure you're the first one to talk to me, or the last person to talk to me on Tuesday in November, whenever it's time to vote.
Polls.
Catch me at the polls.
I always wonder who's like being influenced by those poll people. It's you.
It's me, dude. Like, and not so much politically, but like opinions, social, like on other things, like art or whatever. Someone will come in and go, well, actually, this. Like, I remember when I started stand up. I thought I liked Dane Cook and Carlos Mencia. Like when I was brand new to stand-up, 2006, those guys were the two hottest acts going, and I'm like, yeah, I really like their stand-up. And then every open micer that I was at this open mic with were like, ugh. And then I was like, yeah, ugh. Like, those guys suck.
You got to get on Marin. Oh, okay. But now it's the same thing. Like, ooh, Marin. You like Marin?
Yeah. Because I like...
Dane Cook was awesome. I'm sorry.
He was
Dane
really
Cook was
good.
the shit back in the day.
He was so good.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm also influenced by it too, where I had enough people that did the thing that I did that told me he was bad and that told me Mencia was bad, that I'm like, oh, I guess they suck. And then Mencia ended up being a joke thief and stuff. So like, whatever, that ended up working out. But like sometimes opinions are good, but like it's crazy how much you can get influenced by just the chatter around you.
Yeah.
And not just for comedy, but movies too. Like we've been watching movies at home, just renting them, and they suck at home. Every movie that we've watched at home, I hate, and they're all winning all the awards. All the awards. What was that one about the lady who slept with the underage kid and then they ended up becoming married? It was like called Me Again.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it's called.
It was with the girl from Black Swan. I don't know anybody, but the movie sucked.
Natalie Portman?
Natalie Portman was in it, and she was playing an actress that was going to play Julia, whatever her name is, the girl from Big Lebowski. This is
May December?
May December.
Yeah. You weren't even close.
I wasn't even close. You know what I was going to call it? I think the movie's called Me Again. It was in May December. It was close.
The Google search is wild. I wrote Natalie Portman slept with student. That's the only one I had to look for. It was like, it came up right away.
So she was in the movie. She plays an actress that's going to play the woman that slept with the student in an upcoming movie. So she's coming out to like shadow her for a week and kind of, get her mannerisms and blah, blah, blah. And I thought that movie stunk. I thought it sucked. And you know what it is? It's because we were watching it at home. The cats were around. I was distracted. And I need to be in a theater.
Also, why, man? Like, what does that have to do? It's not like she's doing somebody famous. It's not like she's trying to be Albert Einstein and you got to know people are going to know. No one knows how this lady moves her hands when she talks.
That's true.
What a waste of time.
That is. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you don't have to be all method acty about a person no one really knows.
A young man's belt at lunch break. What are you talking about, Natalie? Grow up.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, she starts getting her mannerisms down, like to a T, to a creepy level. And I thought, And then I don't even remember how the movie ends. Then she leaves. But yeah, she just goes and, goes back to shooting her movie. But I actually met, the big famous one, Mary Kay Letourneau. I saw her because she lives in Seattle. So I think this movie was based on her because she ended up marrying that kid she slept with. And they had a bunch of kids. They're still together to this day. And I was working at a comedy club outside of Seattle. And they had outside of it was like a dance hall. Like they had a DJ playing. And so right after the show's over, you're in this nightclub. And I was sitting there, and the security guard from the comedy club was there. And he goes, "You see that guy DJing?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's the kid that's now an adult who was the student that slept with that Mary Kay Letourneau." And I was like, "Whoa." And he goes, "And Mary Kay Letourneau's right there."
When was this?
This was in when it happened, it was like 96, but like...
No, yeah.
This happened in like 2015.
And I'm not trying to be fact checker guy.
No. Were they not together
They're not married anymore. They divorced in 2017.
Oh, so they were together in 2015.
And she died in 2020.
Oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
Well, that oddly makes me feel better for what happened after. Because I'm not happy she's dead. That came off dark. I thought you guys would chuckle. And then now I'm just left with that statement. But so this is 2015, so they're still together, and she was there watching him DJ. And when he told me that, I was like looking at her, and I'm like, I have to Google this. So I Googled her, and I like pulled up her photo, and I'm doing a comparison. And while I'm looking at the photo, I look up. She's no longer there. She's now behind me. So I wonder if she looked over my shoulder and saw like a big zoomed in image of her face and me going, "Huh? Like, is that her?"
That's such a Zoltan thing.
I know,
to
that
do.
is such a me. I am so happy she's dead because like that embarrassment died with her now. Like I can let that go now. Like
You had to kill her. It's too embarrassing.
Whenever we go out and Zoltan wants to discreetly tell me something, he'll be like, "You see that woman over there?" And he'll point at her. He loves a good point.
I'm a big pointer.
You can't go either direction because my girlfriend she'll do one of these like, "Bitch, you got it," right in front of people. And I'm like, you can't do that. And I'll stop her. I'm like, just say it out loud. Like now everyone knows we're talking about them.
But you know what else? So I'm way too on the nose. So is your fiance.
Yeah.
You know what you are though? You're too discreet because you're really trying to play it cool. So we'll just be walking, and she'll be like, "You see that?" And then I'll just go, "What? Huh? And then you're like,
So true.
and then you're like, "Her?" She's like, "Look where I'm looking," and I'm like, "Where are you looking?" And I'm like, "Point, give me a heads up," because I'm over there like, "You see that? That right there? Look at that mole." Like I'll point it out.
I had a very similar one. John Gosselin. Do you know John Gosselin? John and Kate + 8?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
He was a DJ for a while, and he was DJing a corporate event that I was doing.
Oh no!
And I have his number.
That's
like
so
we
cool.
hung out.
Wow.
He was pretty cool. Like he was very much. He's like, "Yeah, I'm that guy. Look at me now, DJing." Yeah, and I was like, I have mad respect for that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and good DJ.
Good, not a bad
fine.
DJ.
I mean, it's
All
playing
right.
music. What do you know?
Yeah, I know. He
Doesn't take much to
faded
be a
them together
fine
well.
DJ. Yeah. He just kept playing the theme song to the show.
Man, when I DJ a house party, the songs clearly end and the next one clearly starts. There's no like fade through. Like one beat isn't going to the next. It's like now it's going to go slow.
He was super. I used to make videos for these corporates that they'd play on one of the days where I'd pretend people were celebrities in the crowd. I'm like, "Oh my God, look, it's Sonny Bono was a guy that kind of looks like him and always got a good laugh." And then I was like, "Oh my God, look, it's John Gosselin." And he's like, "I am John Gosselin." He was super down to do it. I was very impressed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good that he's down to earth because I remember they had a big falling out. Did you ever watch that show, John and Kate + 8? So it was this couple and they ended up having 8 kids. Were at the same time?
IVF. They ended up, and they had 6
at the same time, and
they
then
had
2
already
before.
had twins.
Yeah.
Oh
and then
my
they had
God.
6. Yeah.
So John and Kate + 8. I wouldn't feel good about being one of the kids and just being called +8. Like, why do you guys get a name? We don't get a name. Name us.
No,
why isn't it John and Kate and Sam and Will and Diane?
It's the longest.
Yeah, it's the longest TLC title of all time. Name us all. But yeah, I remember they broke up, and then she got a bad haircut, and then that was the first time like a famous couple broke up, and they both dealt with it by both getting bad haircuts.
Yeah.
Because she got like this weird edgy one, and then he's like, "I'm a DJ now," and he turned into kind of a douche.
Yeah.
But
He got the raw end of that deal. Apparently, he
did?
had like a what's that clause? You can't talk. Gag order or something.
Gag
from the
order,
courts.
NDA.
So he wasn't allowed to talk about all the crap that went on behind the scenes. But now he's talking about it, and it's like, it's wild.
Oh, is it time limited NDA?
Yeah. So he's like talking about it. Nobody cares, so nobody's paying attention. But she was a monster to him. And then you look back at all the old clips. They'll play old clips, and it's like, yo, she was mean. Yes. He was just a guy working, trying to support 8 kids, and she's like, you're breathing too hard. He's like, fuck, man.
Every woman has that complaint.
Yeah,
8 kids and a Karen haircut to go home to. Like, of course I'm upset. Of course I'm breathing heavy. I hate you.
I've noticed I get the breathing complaint when I'm laying like this. So if the pillow's like this, and I just naturally, like, there's just a little that comes out, and she's like, what, you were breathing so loud? I'm like, I'm just living. Like, you know when you should be nervous? When you don't hear this. When you don't hear that means I am dying.
Apparently when I have headphones on, I breathe so heavy. That's why I keep one ear out when I'm here. I'm serious, because I keep this ear out, because if they're both on, for some reason I start and so I usually keep one ear out so I don't sound like I'm climbing a hill.
Oh dear. Well, you know, we're all just trying to sound good.
We're all just trying to live.
We're all just trying to live and let live and be good. We had a good week. You got a good week without me, which was nice. You've been begging for that. You were like, please get out of the house. And I was gone for it felt like 3 weeks, but I guess it was only 5 days. Sacramento, San Francisco, Bakersfield, 2 in LA. Yeah, it was 5 days. And good Lord, you ever perform in Bakersfield?
I have not, no.
Yeah, Bakersfield's the middle of... thank you, by the way, to all the people that showed up.
Let me start off with.
We like packed out 2 shows. First one was sold out. The second one was close to sold out. So thank you for doing that. Toughest. I've performed in Bakersfield for over 10 years, and they've always been tough crowds. Like, I can get them to laugh, but it's so much work than any other show. And I always assumed it was because they never had a proper comedy club. So I always assumed, oh, they're like this because I'm doing this at a nightclub. They're like this because I'm doing this in a Mexican restaurant. They're like this because the setting is off. Yeah. And then they opened a proper comedy club, The Well, and it's a nice place. And I'm like, oh, no, it's the people. We can have the ideal situation, and it's still the people.
How crazy is it that a crowd that came out to see you is still a little stiff, iffy?
Yeah, it might have been the poor host. They didn't give him the memo that it's a clean show, so he went up there. I remember I was peeing, and I could hear the show. I'm in the bathroom, and he opens with, "Hey, we got some titties out tonight," and I was like, "Oh dear." Which, even if it's not a clean show, probably not the best way to open.
It could be the dirtiest show of all time. How about? How's everyone doing tonight? Nice titties. Like, start with something that works.
But I could tell it was a stock line, because he said, every time we have a celebrity comic, the titties come out. And then I was like, what? And then I went out there, like, right before I went on stage, I looked around. There are no titties. Like, everyone's dressed regular. No one's dressed scandalous.
That's my favorite.
That means it was just a stock line that he's anytime Pauly Shore comes up or someone comes up, the boobies is out. And
you heard him say that, and you were like, what? I'm a celebrity? You just got super excited. You're like, say tits all you want, bud.
I'm the exact opposite of that. When he said celebrity, like, ugh. Because if you are a celebrity and you're in Bakersfield, that means it's over. Like, if you're on the climb and you're there, that's great. But if you're a bona fide celebrity and you're not in whatever the giant theater is, the Fox Theater in Bakersfield, and you're at the comedy club, that's not good. That's not a good sign.
Do they have big acts that come through there? Is this owned by like one of the big?
No, this is owned by a comedian. He's a really nice dude. He used to do comedy, or still does comedy, and then he was running a show at this bar, and then the bar owner wanted to sell, and he's like, you want to turn this into a full-time comedy club? And then so he did. And it's great. Bakersfield's first I know that they've ever had like a legitimate regularly run comedy club.
Oh yeah, they got Brian Callen, Doug Benson coming.
They get names. They get names. I'm not saying those guys aren't celebrities. I just mean for me, like I don't look at I'm not, like, it just isn't. And then so if you say I don't know. That's just my own insecurity. But yeah, he ended up being really dirty, and bless his heart, he was a nice guy, and I'm sure he does well on like other shows, but the crowd really pulled back on him.
Yeah.
And then so he tried his best, and he was a really nice guy.
I love stock lines that are just like
I love stock lines.
painfully obvious.
Yes.
Like, I love when a joke doesn't get anything and they're like, "You're laughing because you think this." It's like nobody's laughing.
My favorite line in comedy is "You're probably thinking."
Yeah.
And it's like no one. Every time I hear that as an audience member, and I'm also guilty of saying this as a comedian, so I'm picking on myself. But like anytime I hear, I know what you're thinking or you're probably thinking, I'm always like, nah, I wasn't thinking. I was waiting for the next line in your joke.
I used to be so against like, you'll get that on the way home.
Oh yeah.
And as I was like realizing that I hate that, I was like, oh, you do that. I have a bit where I was like, that was like the line. I was like, whoa, god damn, dude. Like, it took you some time to figure that one out.
It goes to the classic line: you point enough fingers, or you point a finger and there's three pointing back at you.
Yeah.
Like I can poke fun at comedians all day long and point out little cliche things that they all do, and then we can look at enough footage of me and go, "Your dumbass did that too."
Welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah, welcome to the club. You also had a joke where you said, "And then I just walked away," or "Then he just walked." That used to be my big pet peeve. It's like every time I would 10 years ago or whatever, when alt rooms were. Remember when there was like a big distinction between club acts and alt acts, and I remember every alt show I did, every comic would have a weird story between an interaction with themselves and the other person, and they didn't know how to end it, so they ended it with, "And then he just walked away." Yeah. And I always wanted to go, what'd you want him to do? He didn't know you.
Yeah.
He didn't know you, and he watched you trip on a waffle. Why would he hang around and create dialogue? Of course he'd have left.
Or great, and then I killed him.
And then
and we're dating.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we're dating.
I did one of those big shows where it's like a joke off at the Bell House, or whichever the big one in Brooklyn.
That's the Bell House. Yeah.
And it was like everyone gets one joke, and then the audience decides. And this girl took this long story that like whatever, and it made at the end she goes, it was very racist who this person was in the joke, and then she goes, and then I killed him, and so I just went, "I'm not dead." That was my line. And I was like, "Can that be my joke?" And they're like, "Yeah." It was so.
I'm not dead.
But I caught the thing. I was like, "Oh, don't do that." I was like, "All right, fine. I'm gonna do one for you too."
I like that kind of stuff because every era thinks they're so unique and groundbreaking. It's like, dude, we're gonna look bad in 10 more years anywhere, just like every generation before us. So, just have fun with it.
You don't have much far to look back. You just got to look at your old clips with your old hair. And be like,
I know,
look at that
dude.
guy.
Remember, I was
That's
down
just
on
jealousy, by the way.
No,
I can't grow long straight hair, so screw you, pal.
I'm jealous of myself from then. I was like, man, I put on like Modern Male, like some old set of mine, and I was like, man, that guy looks so cool. And
oh yeah, you did have that moment.
Yeah, and then you broke it down. You're like, you just have your hand in your pocket. That's all.
But you're wearing a cool jean jacket, and you have your hands in your pocket, and
I was just
cool.
smooth. I was like buttery that day. I don't know what was happening. And I'm like, then I look at new footage and I just like, with my knock knees just stamped into the ground. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, what is this guy, dude? Where's the cool guy? That cool guy's dead.
That guy died.
That guy died. I think I don't know. I'm just surrounded by like coolness. Like ever since I made fun of the movie The Iron Claw, I can't get away from Jeremy Allen White. Is that his name?
Yeah.
The guy from The Bear? Because he has like an underwear ad with Calvin Klein, and they are sexually harassing me with these photos.
Right, he's got the big ones right by REI and Lafayette and Delancey or something like that.
They're on my New York Times app.
Hilarious.
Like I'm reading an article about the Houthis in Yemen, and then he's over there just butt naked eating an apple with his schnutz in my face. And I'm like, will you stop sending me these dick pics, Jeremy Allen White?
The Yemenis, Hoishi Mama. Or the Houthi.
The Houthi mamas.
Who think I am in Germany?
But yeah, I was in LA and I was hauling ass to a set at the Comedy Store, and I had to park super far away, and I'm running, and then there's a giant video screen of him in his Calvin Klein underwear, bent over, a big old bulge, and he's eating his apple. And I had to stop, and I took a photo of this, and I sent it to Emma, and I'm like, I can't get away from this guy. Like, they're bullying me with his stuff. Because you know what's really the most offensive thing that celebrities do? Is when they take these photos and they're shirtless, but they're sitting and hunched over and they still look ripped. Because like for regular people, I look fine standing up, elongated. Like when I don't have a shirt on, I don't sit down. All right, I am elongated. Everything's good, stretched out in proportion. If I sit down, I start looking like a layered truffle cake. And I'm like, I mean, you can go like, oh, that's the jelly layer, that's the tit layer, that's the first belly layer. And then like, if you are so jacked that you can like sit down without a shirt and there's not layers to you, that means you're so rich you have time to like eat the proper proteins and stay away from milk.
You eat ice chips for breakfast. Like, you're miserable.
Yeah, you're miserable.
There's no way you're happy.
Like in that photo, he's eating an apple, and I'm like, I bet the sugar content in that apple is trainers off to the side. Spit it out! Spit it out!
Don't you swallow, Jeremy.
Yeah. But yeah.
Also, who's buying Calvin Klein's? Like, they're at Marshall's.
I
like,
don't.
do they have stores anymore? Like, how do they afford a billboard?
They need to calm down with their ads.
Everybody, like that whole thing. Like I'm trying to limit my social media because it makes me feel ugly.
I think you're saying I'm trying to limit my Calvin Klein. I'm trying to limit. I got too many of them. I wear them on my head sometimes.
But all the promotions, because like I was in LA, I did that show at the Belly Room, and there was like young girls in there, and they all had face work done. I told you this. Like they must have been in their early 20s, and they already look like a 45-year-old divorcee because they got the face pulled back and
bee
the
sting face. I call
yeah,
it.
bee sting face. Yeah, it was like an allergic reaction to shellfish or something. And
did you have clams earlier?
it's like,
why do you breath smell? Yeah, that's why.
Why do you look like a 38 realtor on 38-year-old realtor on Selling Sunset? But it's not their fault, because even if you're not on social media being told this is the way to look or that's the way to look, they have giant billboards in that stupid town. Every billboard, like I went outside and I was in my head going, why are all those young 20-year-olds have so much face work done when your face is good at that age? And then I look up and there's a giant billboard of Kylie Jenner, and it's just Kylie's Cosmetics, and she has her receipts hanging off her face, like it's dangling in the wind. And I'm like, oh, that's why. Yeah. And then I saw Jeremy Allen White. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I could be in better shape. And it's all. It's
a lot.
It was the first time that I could, in real time, relate to the complaints women have had. Even before social media, they used to complain about the image of women in magazines, where they're like, yeah, we can't all look like SI swimsuit models that are like starving themselves, that kind of thing. And then I saw the Jeremy Allen White underwear ones. I'm like, I get it.
We had He-Man. We had like lots of characters growing up that were like unattainable.
Steroided. Yeah. Steroided jacked up
wrestling. See these jacked up dudes like that. I was never gonna. I had more chance of being Yokozuna.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I
know who that is.
You know, a big thing I've learned in my entire life is that just because you weigh a certain number doesn't mean you will look like the people that weigh that. Like when I was younger and I wanted to be a pro wrestler, I thought you had to weigh 220 to be a pro wrestler, because that was their build weights. I didn't know they lied. And that guy weighs 185, and that's why he's so ripped. So I tried, and then I was like I was chubby in high school, and I'm like, man, I weigh the same much as that guy, but I do not look like him without my shirt on. And then I started losing weight, so now I'm down to 175, and I'll watch UFC fights where they fight at 175. I'm like, Jesus, they're ripped. And then me, I look like I need to stay standing while shirtless. Yeah. And I'm like, what? So the weight and the way you look aren't correlated.
I have Andre the Giant proportions. Like if you read my stats, it's like, Jesus Christ. And you look at my cholesterol, like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Man, I hate that I know who all these people are. Like,
I have shared so much with you.
Like, I've never watched wrestling, but I know all the wrestlers.
Yeah, every one of them. Yeah.
You should watch the documentaries are great. Like the Andre the Giant documentary.
Made her watch all these.
I've watched what is it, In the Dark? Or
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of it.
In the Dark. Spider-Man.
You know what the hardest thing for non-wrestling fans, I noticed this not just with you, but with any time a non-wrestling fan watches a wrestling documentary where they talk about the real life, they have it's a really hard distinction for a non-wrestling fan to realize when they're talking, they're like, wait, was that supposed to be part of the show? Or was that not part of the show? And then you have to go, no, that was not part of the show. But then they put this little aspect of it into the show. Right. And then it became this fake thing, but it was from a real thing. And then it's hard to follow as a viewer sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Like there's this guy, Angelo Galanti. I might be messing up this story, but he said he got his eye taken out by another wrestler because they had a dispute and they fought in the ring, and the guy got his ass kicked for real, and he lost his eye. And he was the one trying to attack the other guy.
Oh, wow.
Because he was told by somebody, like, beat him up and then take his belt, like, beat him for real. He doesn't know this is coming, but you're going to go do that. And then the other guy figured it out once he's getting his ass kicked. So he fought back and took his eye out. And then...
Hey, I don't feel bad for your eye, buddy.
No, you went in to go be a snake. I don't know. And that's the business I wanted to be in when I was in high school. I'm like, I'm going to go be a wrestler.
Did you have a name? I know we always end up talking about wrestling, but did you have a name?
I know we do. I was going to steal a guy's name I was going to steal Terry Cruz's name from Battle Dome. He was T Money, and I was like, I'll be Z Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then because I was poor, I thought I could play like a white trash rich guy, kind of like Kid Rock. And then, so I could be Z Money, but I could be like kind of white trash, but loaded. Like, like it's a Lamborghini, but the seats are zebra print, you know? It's like real trashy.
Yeah. Remember when we saw $1 Million Man?
Oh, yeah. When we saw him at the airport, and I knew him. I knew who he was before he even turned his full face.
Yeah, you saw the back of his head and you're like...
That's the $1 Million Man. I know that hairline.
Yeah, some heads you can at any angle. You know who Ric Flair is no matter where he is.
Oh, I watched... Hulk Hogan's son just got a DUI in Florida, and they released the body cam footage. Do you watch it? Yeah. And so his son looks rough, by the way. His son's 33, but he looks about 45.
Sounds like Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah. He's like, rah, 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 yeah. And he looks like he's having a rough time. And Hulk Hogan shows up as the good dad that he is. And this is like probably 2 a.m. Who knows what time it is. And he has like a walking stick. And Hulk Hogan has turned into a Florida dad. Yeah. Like he has the big mustache. He's bald. He showed up. He's wearing his own shirt. Yeah. So he has his own face on his chest. Like, you're not at a show, but you can tell all of his shirts at home are just his Hulk Hogan shirts.
He's got no money left now, so he's just sewing back the shirts he's ripped. It's just these tattered shirts.
Every shirt that he's ripped, he's like, I was really wasteful with shirts. And
saved a couple of these, brother.
That always used to drive me crazy when I was a kid, because I was like, my mom would yell at me if I ever left my sweater on the bus, and I would turn on the TV, and every shirt, this guy, and I'm like, how many shirts does that guy have? Is that what being rich is? You can just rip your shirts? And but yeah, he showed up, and I watched the whole thing. And then I came to realize, like, I understand why we release body cam footage now, because so many people were being abused by the cops, and the public needed to see the story so there wouldn't be a riot after every arrest or every injury. But now we're releasing way too much footage. Like, there's no legal reason why we should see Hulk Hogan's son getting a DUI and him showing up to help. It's kind of like, the woman that was caught masturbating on the beach off the coast? It was like East Coast, like New York somewhere. There was a woman, we saw this. She got busted like handling herself out there on the shores, and then they called the cops, and they released the body cam footage, and she ended up being so embarrassed she killed herself.
What?
Yeah. Because she was like a realtor,
It
went
viral.
It went viral. And it ruined her life, and she was so dismayed that she ended her life over this. There's no reason we needed to see all the body cam footage from stories that don't have someone being hurt or mistreated.
I guess it's because it's public record.
I get
footage, and now we just have too much access.
Yeah, it's too much access. There's no reason we should see Hulk Hogan having to deal with his drunk son. There's no reason this woman is embarrassing thing needed to be put on blast, so she ends up ending her life.
That sucks.
And that... way too many people, because that's out of your control. There's enough people putting their lives on social media, and then they get the backlash from it, that like you don't need to be doing that.
No, I know.
Like, that just happened this weekend, where a comedian, this girl opened for this guy, and I guess she had a rough set, so the guy came out and trashed her, like made fun of her. And then so she went on social media and said, I did not have a bad set, and I was mistreated and all this and that. And then that got a bunch of views. So then the guy who has a bunch of followers, he does a rebuttal video.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah. And it's like, both of you are wrong. First of all, what happened to you wasn't good. but also don't run to social media because you're doing it. Now you want attention from it and you want people to go, it's okay. But you don't get to control the outcome.
Yeah, you don't get to control the narrative. When
you don't get to control the narrative. And then the other guy puts out his video, which shows you not doing well. But also, if you're a comedian and the person on before you has a rough set, and the only way you can have a good set is to trash them, you're trash.
Yeah.
You're a horrible act. You're a horrible act. So all it really showed was, in my eyes, both of you don't look that good.
Yeah. She should have kept her mouth shut, but for him to go out and do that, that's like...
It's low.
Yeah, it's a low blow, unnecessarily.
And it's delusional to say you had a good set if you didn't. And it's horrible to go make fun of somebody when they had a bad set. And it's just low class. But also, just take your L. Like, sometimes process things with yourself or talk to someone in person without having to go look into your phone. And then you're pretty much you're hoping that the comments below will make you feel better for what happened to you over there. And that's a horrible gamble because people suck.
Yeah.
Those are horrible people. Do it with people that know you. So you watched the video?
Yeah, and he also sucked.
Yeah.
Like, I went back through his videos. Like, he's not funny either.
He's horrible. He's some guy that went viral on TikTok, so he sells like 1 billion tickets, which he's not the only one. There's a bunch of these guys that do this, and that's good for them. Great. I'd have no issue with that, but they're not good at stand-up.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. They're grasping at straws to do well.
They'll fade out.
I hope. I'm ready.
They're not going to go back to the club. You know, no one's going to come out. It's the same thing with YouTube stars. Remember when they were selling tickets at clubs and they're no longer doing that?
Yeah.
Because they show up once, they suck. The people go, "What am I paying this for?" And then they don't. Have you seen a YouTube star?
Not as many. I mean, look at Brendan Schaub. That guy, Brendan Schaub, was he's a former UFC fighter, and then he went on Rogan, and then Joe Rogan told him that he shouldn't be a fighter anymore because he's not that good. And then so instead he went into stand-up, which I don't think that was what he intended. He's like, I didn't mean to go do what I do. I just meant don't do that, maybe. And then so now he went into stand-up, and then he got a bunch of like he was selling a lot of tickets until people saw that it's bad. It's not good comedy. And then so he's not. Someone told me he's not selling as many tickets anymore, and
He's canceling lots of shows.
Canceling shows. A lot of weekends are turning into one-nighters. And I don't know him, so I don't feel bad for him personally, but like that's gonna happen if your shows if people come out to see the thing and they're like, well, this isn't that good.
That's why when Vinny from Jersey Shore started doing stand-up.
He did?
Yeah, but
I didn't know that.
Would sell tickets, but it would be Vinny and friends, so he'd host the show and try to get a 10 out and then bring on a bunch of other comics, which is the smart way to approach that, I guess, if you're going to try to transition into stand-up.
I feel like I've heard Chris Kattan does that too.
I've heard a lot of Chris Kattan stories.
Yeah. So it's like a way to hide it. But I feel like it's so crazy that the go-to when something works out is to go into stand-up, which is like the scariest one to go into.
Well, it's sell tickets.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's just, how do I sell tickets? Well, I can't sing. Well, I can tell jokes, like, you know.
But can you?
No, but it's the easiest foot in the door to a live entertainment career, I think.
Maybe do a talk. Like, don't even sell it like a comedy show. Just go, I'm going to make an appearance and talk and tell stories.
Yeah,
kind of like we went to that movie and the director after the movie did like it wasn't really a Q&A, it was like a curated conversation about the film afterwards. Like, do something like that. Because imagine if that woman started trying to tell jokes.
Well, Kattan, I think I've heard from a lot of clubs that it's just he does like 10, 15 minutes and then just takes pictures with people.
Love it.
Like that he messes with them on stage, or he's just really doing a big photo op.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that. And then, but
I read his book. It's really messed up, his book.
You read his book?
Yeah.
What happened to Chris Kattan?
He got injured on SNL doing a stunt.
Okay.
Where he was supposed to be in a breakaway chair, and it wasn't. And so when he fell, he like he fractured his neck.
Whoa.
And he had to be like on pain medicine, and then he got addicted to pain medicine as a result. That's according to his story.
I believe that.
But then ever since then, he's like, that's when things went off the rail. And you can kind of see in his career how it all fell apart after that. And he's been addicted to, or he was bouts with addiction because of that one moment.
How many people in America have that same story? You just take out SNL and they're like, yeah, I got hurt at the loading docks, and then I got given pain pills. Now I'm a heroin addict.
Well, like look at Pain Hustlers.
Yeah, that's the movie. Yeah, when we watched that documentary and they followed that, or they made the movie about it, And then the guy like got hurt at work, and then he ends up.
And all that movie
addicted.
sounds ridiculous when you watch the dramatic version, and then you watch the documentary. Like, oh, that was very much the case.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just went to a strip club and went VP of sales. You know, they're just like coming up with ridiculous stuff, and they're just like hawking pills, man. It's crazy how they're allowed to do that.
Illegal drug dealing.
Yeah.
Which
is why I wanted to be a doctor.
which is why I wanted to be a doctor. I don't know.
It's true.
That's why people wrote in their safe journals. That was a horrible connection. I was like, if people would write in their safe journals, maybe they could deal with their issues. I'm going to miss these chairs that you were saying.
I know.
I do end up slouching in them, though.
They're just so comfortable.
I do get kind of sleepy.
They make you sleepy?
Yeah, like I come in pepped up and then I like get sleepy as the
That's a
episode goes
great
on.
problem though for zip chairs to be like your chairs are too comfortable. They're so comfortable.
Someone actually left that comment underneath. They're called Zip Chair. If you left that comment like 4 episodes ago going, where'd you get those chairs? Zip Chair. Go buy yourself some. Maybe Mike will be selling these.
Yeah, they might be going up for auction. Who knows?
Hit up
Which
Mike.
sucks because the guy that owns the thing is so cool and he was really cool about giving them to us, but we don't have the room.
And we don't have the room, but they're comfortable chairs.
Yeah, they really are.
Can we have these at home?
No.
No? All right. We got a small penis-shaped living room, so we can't. It's a triangle shape. We can't fit big things in there.
What's your penis shaped like?
It's not my penis. I mean the overall layout of our house, like this. There's a nutsack and a shaft and a head on it, and I didn't notice it. My buddy Dane looked at it for 1 second and goes, "Oh, you live in a rig, bud."
Is he Canadian?
No, but he wishes he was.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
actually half Canadian. So yeah,
Rig is such a Canadian way of.
is that
saying
what they? I
No, but
thought
they
he
always
invented
have
that.
weird terms for like calling
dude,
women birds and like
Yeah.
all that kind of
That's
stuff.
British.
Is it?
Dane,
Yeah, maybe.
Dane always referred to his penis as the rig.
Yeah.
He's like, I pulled the rig out on her, and
That's why I did 10 in lockup. Wait, what? 10 in the clink. It's like, how can you in jail?
the rig. It's so dumb.
Oh, I can't wait to use rig in my real life.
I try to use it all the time. I say dingus. I like dingus. You're annoyed by it.
Not as cool.
I mean, it's definitely not cool, but I think it fits my brand a little more than the rig.
I think I use wiener a lot.
I said it today. We went to go get these coffees, and they have all these pastries, and one of them was like this pig in a blanket with a big hot dog in it. And I was like, what are you going to get? And she's like, I'm going to get this one. I was like, I was thinking about getting one of these wieners. And I like to say it all loud, just to, like, I'm still 12 years old at heart. I'm like, huh?
But you're also like an embarrassing dad too.
Yeah.
I am an embarrassing dad.
I love dad jokes. They make me so happy.
I can do them in practice, but I can't do them like if someone's like, give me a dad joke.
God,
I don't
no.
have one. It has to happen.
Dad jokes are just like a vibe more than anything.
Like, remember one time we were boarding a flight, and as we're getting on the plane, this guy with earmuffs comes from the outside, and he talks to the pilot, and he leaves. And I'm like, must just got done checking the oil.
I remember that.
And then Emma was like, you weren't paying attention? And you're like, what, seriously? And I'm like, no, it's a dad joke.
No.
She's like,
And
you're
I'm like the worst person because I believe everything.
like he was there with a giant dipstick. And he was like, oh yeah, see, we're a quart low.
That's so funny.
I gotta go fill it up. I don't know. Dad jokes are the best.
Just dad vibes. I used to have my Twitter profile used to be funniest dad without kids. So I just love goofing off and having a good time. Do you guys want to put? Can I get a box, empty plate? Like that's my. I don't do that around comics, but I do around like my girlfriend and like close acquaintances.
Yeah.
How was the food? Terrible. I hate it. Do you get it?
What's the Instagram account that we follow? Where it's like it's the two dudes and then the dad, and then the dad comes in.
shit.
Be
I
a
don't
man
know.
or whatever.
Yeah, or something like that. But like the dad does all these crazy dad jokes, but they do them all dramatic.
I forget
like
what
all
it's
these.
called.
Like they did one where the bed was off kilter, and he's like, I need a weird piece of wood that this piece. He's like, I got it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he runs and finds it, and they're all just like, Dad.
Saved it 20
and
years
he's
ago.
like, he saved it
Yeah,
for
I've
20
seen that,
years
yeah.
for this one moment. But
I think we have the same FYP. For You page.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
On TikTok, 'cause I've seen all these.
My entire For You page is either that, people falling, boxing, pro wrestling, and then weird animal stuff: cats, kittens, bears. There's a lot of Russians with bears.
Oh, there's that crazy Russian guy, like Crazy Russian Inventions, where this guy just like has all these weird tech things that he puts together. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
Sounds cool.
I'm getting too many wrestling mishaps, and I don't like that.
oh yeah.
People getting hurt in the ring makes me. I can't be part of that.
I have the group chat with Dane and the guys, and then we send funny videos in there, and then Jason always goes dark with it, and then so you'll be in a mixture of like some guy slipped down his frozen driveway, and he's like, ah, damn it, and then you're like, ah, that's funny, or maybe like someone slips off a boat and falls in the water, ooh, his cell phone's ruined, and then this guy who like someone who like tried to like jump a bike and then he lands on his neck and now his neck's in his ass, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I remember we were looking at some of them together, and then there was one where like the car just completely gets totaled, and the guy obviously
Everyone's
dies.
dead.
And
There's
I'm
blood
like,
everywhere.
what?
Look
What
at
are
this
you guys
silly
sending
bird.
to
You're like,
each
look at
other?
this Faces of Death link I found. Buddy, you're banned.
Yeah. Dude, Jason comes in with the dark. He comes in hot with the dark.
Is he a comic, Dane?
No, these are my like friends from California. They're
I think there's a thing with comics and their non-comic friends.
Yeah.
They try to be extreme around their comedian friend to like, because I get the same thing with my buddies that aren't comics that they'll always like, yeah, but then you put my fist up. It's like, dude, I don't, like, I don't care. That's not how I want to talk. They're always just trying to like outdo you a little bit.
Outdo you?
Know?
I feel like they were always like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they were always like that, and I've always been the mild one in the bunch, and I just ended up going to do stand-up.
Yeah, maybe that's maybe they're always just crazy.
Yeah, maybe. Because I remember Jason was the wild child in school too. He got in trouble for fights all the time. He got arrested out of a jacuzzi, which is a story I used to tell on stage many years ago. It was before we were 21, and Dane and Jason and I were hanging out at Dane's parents' house because they were gone for the weekend, and we took a big jug of vodka and Frescas. And we had vodka Frescas, and we went to the jacuzzi by ourselves, and the cops showed up, but we thought they were security guards because they didn't come through the front. They came through the bushes. And this is the pool, like the community pool, you know, in a housing complex. And they were like, hey, you guys get out of there. And then Jason goes, why don't you come over and get me? And they jumped the fence, and they were cops. And then so they pulled him out of the water, and they handcuffed him, and they took him to jail wearing nothing but Dane's gym shorts because he didn't have swim shorts. So Dane gave him like old gym shorts, and he wore those. And it was so funny because once we realized there were cops, Dane and I calmed way down.
Oh yeah.
And Jason sped way up. And they're like, what's your name? He's like, Jason. And he said his full name. He's like, you're not gonna find nothing. I'm 21, or I'm not 21. I'm 18. He like used that as a defense,
which is
saying he's underage. He's like, I'm underage. You can't do nothing. And they did something. They took him to jail. And that was a whole fiasco.
I was at a college party, and me and one other person were the only ones 21.
Yeah.
And cops came to bust it up, and they were like, everyone step where you're at or whatever. And we're like, we're 21, dude. Like, you can't get us. And he's like, no, we're going to get you for supplying this party. And we were like, no. And then some guy ran out of the party and like jumped the fence, and the cops ran after him. And we were like, gotta go. Like, just because one guy was an idiot and scared, we got out of it.
It's so funny. My favorite thing is when people think they know the law, and then they're so confident about it. It's like, actually, we didn't have a contract, so blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, that's still illegal. Like, oh, I didn't know that. And now you're just stuck in the situation.
You're gonna run.
Yeah, we saw a flipped version of that in the documentary you watched last night. I fell asleep, but what was the name of it?
American Nightmare.
American Nightmare. It's about a couple, a woman that gets kidnapped out of this guy's apartment, and he gets zip tied, and then the next morning he calls the cops, and the girlfriend's gone. So the cops, like, the story is insane that he tells the cops, and the cops are like obviously thinking this guy killed his girlfriend. So they listen to him for hours and hours. They listen to him tell this elaborate story that he doesn't break from. He's like, this is the story. And the cop finally gets to his point, and he goes, listen, your story sounds unbelievable. I don't believe it. I think you know exactly where she is, and I don't think she's alive. I think you had something to do with it. I think you know exactly where the body is, and I need you to tell me now. He goes on this long, loud, aggressive rant on how you murdered this woman, and you need to tell me where this body is. And then he starts crying, the guy, and he goes, I didn't do any of those things. So what do we do now? And then the cop goes, damn it. I gotta make a call. And then he left. Like, his whole thing got busted. He thought he was gonna nail him with the aggression. And then the guy goes, he's like, I didn't kill her and I didn't hurt her. So what happens now? We have to find her. And he was like, Like, that was his one big pitch to get him to, like.
I had dinner plans. I didn't know I was gonna have to go on a manhunt.
I gotta go cancel my flight to Jamaica. We got more on our hands.
It was really good, though.
According to The Independent, this movie disgusts Netflix users. Apparently, there's a big backlash.
It's because of the cops.
Is it?
I think because of the cops and even the FBI.
Is this a true story?
Yeah, it's a true story.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a documentary.
American Nightmare is also an American hardcore punk band from Boston.
Oh.
So that's
How cool.
And it's also the nickname of pro wrestler Cody Rhodes, whose father was the American Dream, so he goes by the American Nightmare.
That's a good one.
Fun fact.
I feel like, cool. I have to move something else out of my brain to remember that. Great, I forgot my mom's name for crying out loud. Oh, cool, the American Nightmare. Son of the Dream.
I am so sorry.
Was it?
I am so sorry for what I bring to the table in this relationship. I think.
Don't be sorry. I love you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I bring a lot of wrestling facts, but no, that was a great scene in that documentary because it was like a big "I got you" moment, and the guy's like, "Well, I still didn't do it," and he ended up never doing it. But it's him and the FBI agent too hammered this guy. And they're just trying to get him to crack, and he ends up having to get a lawyer, which from the outside looks so guilty when someone lawyers up.
Yeah.
But you see right there why you should get a lawyer, because even if you didn't do anything, cops are going to be like, you did something.
You should also mention that you fell asleep 10 minutes into watching this.
You dreamed the whole thing?
Wait, did everything I say was that true?
No, it's true, but like...
Oh my God, I was asleep.
Man.
It's just so annoying. It was so good, and then you fell asleep. I'm like, I'm still watching it.
And then the crowd in Bakersfield booed me. Oh wait, that was my life.
And then I was kidnapped and forced to perform in Bakersfield. For the record, I had a good time in Bakersfield. It was just work. It felt like more work than San Francisco, Sacramento, and LA. I think that's the show. How much time do we have left?
We got time.
Oh, we got time? Right, good.
10 to 60, but whatever.
Man, did we have anything else? Honestly, all I came in with today was the Jeremy Allen White underwear thing. And I'm like, I'm talking about his nuts. I'm going to talk about his tighty whities, and I'm going to talk about how they made me feel, made me second guess myself.
I was going to REI yesterday, and there's two massive ones there, big billboards, and I saw people taking pictures. And I don't like turning around when people are taking. I don't like looking, but I glanced. And I was like, whoa. Or, like, it caught me there. I was like, I would.
Yeah. I've seen, like, TikToks of girls getting their reactions looking at the billboards.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine how happy you are because you have a big advertising background. Mm-hmm. Like, that is exactly what you want as the company. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you were going for.
Yeah.
You're like, we want people to look at this ad and then see our name on the waistband. Like, that's exactly, like... I also think you could get that attention if you put me in the underwear. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get people to buy the Calvin Klein, but you'll get a lot of people looking and
that
then
would be
not looking.
Great way to promote an album or something is to just get a loan, buy a giant billboard of you
me in my underwear
in an underwear ad in the same font that has the name of your album in it. That would, I think, the kind of press you could get with that would be insane.
It'd be huge.
I'd buy it.
It would be funny if like Calvin Klein reached out going, can you airbrush our name off this photo? Because we weren't a part of this. You just bought the underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't, man, everything looked good on him. His thighs don't have weird discolorations. Like, my thighs look like stained sweatpants. Like, they just, they're just such a...
You're covered in, never mind.
Yeah, there's just greenish hue in certain areas, and then there's weird parts where the hair's gone. Like,
hey, where's that bruise from? Bruise?
It looks like I have road rash, but I've never ridden a motorcycle. Like, I was dragged through the streets. You even said this. Like,
no, I fell asleep on the heated blanket. I shouldn't have. It's so comfortable.
One time I ate soup with no pants on, and it burned like my inner thighs. And like I have patches of hair that are gone from my legs. Like you were like, oh, did you shave your legs? I'm like, no, I'm just getting to that age, that white trash age, where your leg hairs start to disappear up to your like calf muscle, and then you're like, did you shave your legs? You're like, no, I'm just balding on my legs.
Bro, this weekend I got bullied into buying compression socks, and it's the oldest thing I've ever done in my life.
What do you have, varicose veins?
No, my girlfriend, my fiance, and her mom both were like, "Oh, your ankles are swollen," and I was like, "Are they?" I was like, "I don't think they are." And they're like, "No, definitely." And it was just it was just like because I have big feet and big legs, the indent of my sock. It made it look like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it made an impression.
And I was like, "Do I have?" And so I bought compression socks and I wore them on the drive home, and now I have them. I'm like, and the worst part, they're pretty comfortable.
They're pretty oh, so they feel good.
They feel great.
They're not like hurting you.
No.
Oh, okay.
But it was very annoying to be like,
that's funny.
no, and then like, well, maybe I am.
That's funny. It's funny how like it'd be great if it was just a big plan from your fiance. You're like, listen, he has big legs. I need him to just slim him down. Can we all work together and bully him into compression socks? And then they work out.
Thing for a man in stockings. Yeah. I've always wanted to sleep with a Charles Dickens character. Like, okay, well, here we are.
I've always wanted, you know, like in those old timey movies where like the businessman takes his suit off for whatever reason, whether he's about to hook up with a woman, and then he has that weird belt that holds up his socks.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Like, you don't see it anymore, but back in the day, they used to have a belt that would go around a guy's legs and it would be like clipped to their socks.
Oh, I have
to keep
seen
their
that,
socks up. And I'm like, you don't see that anymore. Like, I've been to a lot of weddings. I've never had to rent one of those.
Yeah,
like,
I think it was before elastic was the thing.
yeah. This is when socks were made of.
Figured out an elaborate S&M belt for your legs. Maybe we could just put plastic in. Oh shoot, we should have.
It's a weird one.
It's super weird. But yeah, I don't know. You could have also just gotten off a flight because I swell on a flight.
Well,
I can't take my ring off. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I swell too.
Flight to Spain, my ankle started to swell a little bit. And it's like, that's just kind of what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
And so from there on out, she's been on alert, apparently, looking at my cankles. It's like, sorry for... They don't make socks big enough for me. They don't carry my size in socks. It's not a thing. They don't. I get a size 12 socks. That's the highest they go. And I'm a 15.
It'd be funny if they sold socks the way they sell pants, like 32. And you'd be like, listen, man, I need a 12 by 8 because I need a 12 by 15. And what's the 15? That's the circumference I need at the top. All right? I need a little more ankles. I need a little more ankle space because I swell. I took my shoes off. I've been taking my shoes off on flights now, which I used to make fun of. But I'm going to leave my socks on. But I slip my shoes off. And then,
do you hide them though?
Yeah, I hide them under.
You got to do that. Yeah,
I'm not going to just leave them out.
No. Oh, my dogs are barking.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. And then whip the socks around. Oh, my dogs are barking today.
I knew you.
I love that movie. But I was on the aisle seat, and this guy had to pee. So I went to go stand up, and then I'm like, I have to pee too, but I'm not going to the bathroom with my socks. So I went to go put my shoes back on, but it's so hard to put them back on because my feet had blown up like balloons. So now I'm trying to wedge my hooves back into these things, and it was such a bitch because there's no room. So you're like bent over, and I'm not built like Jeremy Allen White, so I have like my truffle layers are in the way while I'm trying to get my shoes on in this confined area. I look like Chris Farley trying to undress in that airplane bathroom in Tommy Boy, where he's just trying to get the damn socks off. We all swell. Everybody swells.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
Oh, I have socks now for that.
Yeah. I sweat on flights. Yeah. I sweat. I don't know what happens on a flight, but like I can be on a flight and I'll smell like I haven't showered in a week. And I'm like, how? Just from keeping my arms down? That's it? Just from sitting like this for 6 hours, and I will smell like I've been sleeping with goats for 12 years. And I'm like, what happened?
I smell like a bale of hay.
I don't know, man.
Coach. Yeah. You gotta get in first class, dude. Smell like lilacs when you're done.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I get stinky on flights. I gotta get back and doing that. Did you have any stories to share from these past few days? I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
No, I enjoyed my time without you.
What's the best part of me being gone?
I think you just said it. I think you nailed it.
I think just the silence.
I don't keep a quiet household. I really don't. I remember like when I came home last night, you were like, "Oh, I'm so happy to have you back," and then I could see myself putting my stuff down, and you're like, "Not so much there. You're gonna mess that up, aren't you? Oh, you're gonna sit there now, aren't you?" And then you were blaming things on me that had nothing to do with me, but the fact that I was there, you're like, "Oh, my sales stopped." I remember you said that.
Oh yeah, you're like, you're blaming me on a cosmic level.
Yeah, like because like her ad stopped working for Safe Journal. He's like, she's like, I'm not getting any more sales ever since you showed back up.
Oh wait, close the door again. Oh, they're going up.
You got to sleep outside. But yeah, I get it. Like when the house is set to your setting, and then I come back in, especially as someone that travels. I remember Dustin used to say this because Dustin has 3 kids and a wife, and so when he's gone for a long time, when he comes back, he's like, I'm in the way. Like my family has their routine, and now I'm just a guy in the way. And they're like, "Can you leave again?" Like you're like, you're messing everything up. Yeah. And so that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
obviously
I've
we don't
said
have
this before. Like you gotta ease in.
Yeah, you tell me that. You're like, ease back into the household. Don't just show up like you live here. Like you never say the second part. I added that, but
you're flipping through the paperwork. You're like, I'm pretty sure I live here.
I'm pretty sure I live here. My name's on the lease. Like I'm pretty sure I have a key.
I mean, I get mail here. Legally, I think I live here.
But just come in like quieter. And I get that because I remember when I was a kid and I would spend the night at my friend's house, when the dad came home, it was always such a big to-do. Like when the mom came home, it was so light. Yeah. You guys want something to eat? And then the dads would come home. And it was just like the tension that was in the house when dads would come home versus moms. And I realized I'm the dad in the household. I come in and I make everyone on edge and kind of sad.
Aw, we love you.
I was waiting for you to say that's not what happens.
No denial.
No denial. It was more like,
no denial, but we love you.
Well, I'll take it.
You're like, I'm unwelcome when I come here. She's like, so what else did I do this week? Reinsurance?
Reassurance is something Emma and I both work on. You know? Yeah, because there's times where like we'll pick on each other's bodies, but like ourselves, we don't pick on each other's bodies.
Sure.
We'll pick on it. And then sometimes the other person, instead of going, no, you don't look like that, we just go, yeah, we'll go to the gym today. So like kind of confirming our own fears about our body. We both do that to each other. And really what that comes from is that we're being negative about our own bodies too. And so the other person's going, I feel fat, and then the other person is like, I feel fat. So then you just take out that part of the conversation out loud. You go, we'll go to the gym today. But that other person was like, yep, well, that confirms it. I'm feeling pretty chunky today.
You walk in from a trip. She's like, wow, had a lot of salt this weekend, I see. Why? Am I sweating under my boobs? What the hell does that happen?
Smell like a goat, and I can see your sock imprints on your legs.
Why are your ankles purple? You shut up.
Have you been wearing your compression socks?
Oh, God. I know that's coming. And I'm going to snap.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that well. You know what's worse? Where I was wearing compression socks, and they started to fall down because I stretched them out. I stretched out compression socks. How do you do that? That's the whole point. My legs are too big for compression socks. I'm gonna wrap them up like a mummy. I'm gonna have to put gauze on them to get my blood flow.
These compression socks gotta retire like they're old athletes.
After like an hour of sitting. I was in the car sitting, and I got out of the car, and they were all the way down. I was like, well, this is screwed. My calves are so. They used to be fun. Now they're just in the way. They're too big.
Oh, he's tithering.
That's so funny.
It's terrible.
I think that needs to be, I don't know if, I'm sure there's a company out there. If you were making compression socks that can hold up to the task of Mike Albanese's ankles, hit us up. We'll take a sponsor. You can have the number 2 spot after the Safe Journal.
Hit me up at The Big Show on Instagram.
There you go.
I think we need a camera for your ankles.
That calf camera. Calf cam. becomes a morning shock show. It's like a Mary Kate. Remember the Mary Kate and Ashley countdown? That radio shows. Remember? Did you remember that?
No.
I don't know why I'm turning this into more weird stuff.
Yeah. But Mary Kate and Ashley had
until they're 18.
That's so gross.
There was like a lot of radio shows are doing that. It's like
Really?
looking back, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on in here?
Yeah, because that's what D'Elia did
Yeah,
with other women,
supposedly,
girls.
allegedly.
Yeah, you can't call them women because then you're justifying the countdown clock.
How about Larsa Pippen?
Michael Jordan's son's new wife, girlfriend. Yeah.
She used to babysit him. Like she was around when he was a kid.
Do you know this? Do you want to hear some
man.
juicy gossip?
I would love.
All right, I know we're running, but
Yeah.
I just want, because I think this is about sports, but I think you would be interested because it's about a love triangle in a way. All right, so Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, they don't like each other anymore. Even after winning all those championships, they have a beef. Scottie Pippen's divorced his wife, Larsa. Larsa is now dating Michael Jordan's son, Marcus. And so... Did you follow all that?
Yeah.
And now you added a new wrinkle that I didn't know is that Larsa used to babysit who she's now dating. So that's a little creepy.
I think the assumption is that she was around, like they were like tight when they were coming up, when they were like on the team together. So
yeah.
She definitely interacted. And either way, it's weird.
It's a little weird, yeah.
You should watch The Traitors on Peacock.
The Traitors?
Yeah, it's like all these reality show stars in like a house, in a castle in Scotland, and it's like The Mole, but with celebrities.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Yeah, I remember
if you're into reality TV at all, it's really good.
VH1 used to have that like Celebrity House or something. Or wait, that was the rehab show, but it was kind of the same
But
thing.
The Moles, it's the same thing.
Okay.
I'll watch that.
It's really good. I hate that I like it, but it's good.
Man, that must be so. I feel bad for Scottie Pippen. Because that's like Michael Jordan can't stop winning. Like he already takes all the credit for all the championships. Like he can't stop winning. And now my ex-wife is dating his son.
Yeah,
I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. I'll start growing my hair out, as he did.
Yeah.
He's a rough-looking individual.
He's not doing well.
He's not doing well. Well, shout out Scottie Pippen. We all love you. I think you're great, even though I don't know you. I think that's the show for this week. Safe Journal, safejournal.co, 25% off, and a handwritten note by yours truly. Have a great week, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.